Mic on to her. Thank you.
Thanks, Jim. Okay, I'm good to go. Thanks for coming this morning and listening to me. Can we is the volume a little high, or are we okay? Okay, so today we're doing method 2 blocking. I don't want to speak too much. I'm a person that learns by seeing and doing, so I want to make sure that you guys see what I'm talking about. But I just want to check a little bit for when I say method 2. Does anybody in the room know what that means? No one? Okay, it's 8:30, I get it. Okay, so method 2 means that we're talking about early consolidation. So this is typically like 16U, so these girls that are here. Athletes that have acquired the skill, they know generally how to do it, but they're really working on making their technique refined and specific and consistent, as well as they are looking at taking cues, making an appropriate decision, and then executing the correct skill. So I'm going to take you through a progression that I would teach for blocking, and then add in some of those cues and decision-making processes that you want to intentionally build in to get them thinking about why they're doing what they're doing. Make sense? Okay, still drinking your coffee, sort of? Okay, so I'm going to have the girls, you're going to get into groups of 4 and 3, and you need one ball. So what the girls are going to do is we're going to start with doing a really simple drill, working on what might be called like a party ball, but I want them to focus on their press and their spacing as a blocker. So, yes, if I have a referee and I'm penetrating into the space, I can't do that on a party ball. But I think this is a really great way to get them thinking about being pressed into the space over top of the net and get used to maintaining their body position. So, Mary, if you come to the net and be my blocker. Okay, so Mary, the things she's focusing on is she's going to have her feet shoulder width apart, her weight forward. Okay, I don't like to use the term toes because I have lots of the times when I use the word toes with athletes, they get here and really up onto their toes. I want them to be forward so they're ready to move side to side, jump. Okay, so Mary's on her toes. Sorry, I'm just joking. She got her weight forward. She's keeping I usually cue forearm width from the net, and then hands in front so she can see the back of their hands. This is going to give her enough space so that she can press and get into her opponent's space. Because this is literally the only time in volleyball when you're allowed to go into other team's space, so we want to use it as much as possible. So Mary's focus right now when she's doing this drill is she wants to jump and press, and then when she lands, she maintains back into that position. So back into that knees bent, hands are up. Okay, so what we're looking for as they're doing this drill is I want him, if she's jumping, and then I want you to jump and land close. Jumps and gets too tight, or she's touching the net, we want her to keep balance throughout. Okay, so Evie, come onto the other side. Evie's going to toss like a party ball to her. Evie's been practicing this. Okay, and Mary's working on jumping and pressing, and even though in a game I can't press into their space, Mary's going to work on getting into their space. Good. So you guys are going to do this once. So you guys are going to do 5. So Mary, do 5, and then another person, doesn't matter who. Peyton, you could block. Yep. Brooke, come and shag on this side. So they're working on, they're tossing. And then pressing and getting to their space. Maintain your space at the net there, Mary. Good. Just do it once. That's okay. You don't need to do it, Ella. Okay, so you guys get the point. I really like to do this because not only to work on the block action, but also everyone's first reaction when a party ball comes. This is, not the intention of this session, but is to try to hit it as hard as they can. And sometimes it scores, and sometimes it gets dug. So often, using your hands at the net can be a really effective way, especially in women's volleyball, to put the ball where you want it to go and feel like you're in control of your hands. Okay, now, when we did this the first time, you'll notice that the girls pretty much were pressing and going straight, which is pretty typical. But Sona, can you go to the net? Okay, and underneath on the other side. Okay, so Mary toss to Sona again. Oh, Sona thinks side to side. Yeah, you usually, yeah. Okay, so now Sona's going to be working on moving the ball side to side. So as she jumps and presses, just keep your hands high, maintain your space. Okay, she's working on, well, a little bit quicker through your hands, right? Okay, so she's moving it side to side, but now we're going to add a little bit of decision making on it. So Mary's going to toss from the right, your left. Okay, stay where you are. Okay, or I'm going to toss. And Sona's going to work on the ball's coming from this direction, and she's going to press it back the other way. Okay, so it's coming there. Keep your hands high. Okay, so they're going to do that. So this side is going to work. Mary, I want you to toss to Sona on that side. And then this group, Kinna, you can block. And I want you to work on the other way. So the ball's coming from her opposite side, and she's pushing it back into the court. Make sense? Okay, so still maintaining your space. Let's just do 5, and then we'll switch again. Oopsie. Keeping your space from the net. Okay, we'll do one more each. Okay, so the idea is that now I can control where the ball is going, but also thinking about where my body is in the court, and if the ball's coming here and I want to press it back to where the ball is. So getting them thinking about where they are in relation to the net, as well as making a decision. So now adding in some cues and a little bit more decision making, we're going to rotate, so have a new blocker. Okay, so Mary can toss again for Evie. What's going to happen is Mary's going to stand in the middle. Okay, Ella's my shagger, and Ella's going to decide where she's going to stand. So as Mary tosses the ball, she's either going to go to the left of Mary or to the right. And then Evie needs to choose the correct direction. So Sonia, you probably want to help on this side too. Okay? So actually maybe, well, whatever. Okay. It might get confusing. That's what I was thinking. So you know what I'm doing, right? Okay. So Mary tossed the ball. Good. So Evie's looking, scanning for the cue, which is Ella standing here, and then she wants to push the ball away from her, finding the space. So you guys are going to set up the same way. Okay, Brooke, you can be my shagger person. Kayla's blocking. Okay, let's do 4. Okay. Good. That's it. Good. Good. So now they're adding a little bit of decision making. They're seeing the cue, being able to scan and move. I think one of the hardest skills as a blocker is being able to track the play and then be able to see what's happening on the other side of the court after. So building those skills of being able to perform the skill and then see is a really valuable thing, and this is pretty controlled right now. Now, I probably would add one more group and work on the other side so they're a little bit more active, but I'm just kind of for simplicity right now. Okay. Okay, one more thing before we get into actual blocking from a hitter is one drill I really like that really helped me I was a middle blocker, and well, I guess I still kind of am, but to really understand how you use your hands, not only as a middle, but I think as any type of blocker. So I don't know why I wanted the ball. I don't need it. Thinking about, so even if you guys all just put your hands out in front of you, and think about if I retract my shoulder blades so I bring them together, or I protract them so I bring them out. So those two, we always practice as volleyballers. We gotta retract our shoulder blades and keep our shoulders nice and healthy, but we need to protract them and move them away when we're blocking. And thinking that it doesn't always work in one motion is that I can have these two hands taking space independently of each other as I track the ball crossing the net. So if I'm just one person versus I can take one person, two hands, I can take more space if I am able to move my hands together. So a simple drill I do with girls that I like to do just to warm up and get your hands feeling is they're going to do one more of the set of the party balls. And they're going to, so Evie, you're ready to demonstrate this one? Okay. I shouldn't have jumped. Now I'm talking. Okay. Evie's going to receive the ball. Now, I always preface this of that this is not legal in volleyball. Okay, this is to practice. Evie's going to take the ball with her right hand, pass it to her left, and flush it with her left. And then she's going to try to do the opposite. So take it with her left, flush it with her right. And try not to touch the net and maintain your space. Yep. Good idea. You guys can do this at the same time. So you can have you guys both trying it. Who wants to try it on that side? Good. Sometimes it's the toss that needs the work. Good. That's it. So depending on the timing of how much time you have to play with the ball, if it's coming fast, it's going to look really quick. But the idea is giving them some semblance of control of that I'm taking that space away and I'm going to be able to use my hands, not just have the ball deflect off of me. Does that make sense? Okay, we had a bit of coffee, a few nods. Okay, good. Okay, so now we're going to get into our groups and we're going to add a hitter. And I just want to show this because the girls all went. Did anyone go watch any of the Japanese team play over the New Year's? A few people. And their technique, they're not the biggest people, but their technique with their blocking is so strong through their core and their arms that they're taking space away better than someone that's just high over the net. So the girls showed me the plank exercise. I want you to show this. That they practiced. You'll need to do it for like 10 seconds to get the feeling of how I need to be in the air when I'm blocking. Can you guys go like parallel, like move so they could see your body on the side view? Yeah, good. Actually, Mary, can you go this way so the camera can see you? Okay, there you go. Okay, good. Okay, so you can see that, so Brooke's doing a good job here. So she's got her arms forward on an angle, nice and straight, and keeping this sort of, if you were to, now she's tired. So if I was to imagine the ball, the net, okay, we're creating that space and creating strength through their body in that plank position. Okay, stop. So that really was a way that kind of resonated with them of being strong when I'm in the air. And it's that scapular protraction that's taking the space, not my arms making the motion. So they're going to go back to their full block now, and they're working on maintaining that space and at the net and getting that press and that strong position in the air. So you guys need a ball again. Okay. And Mary, do you want to be the hitter? So I really don't like to do too much of practice. I want the athletes to do as much as they can. Okay, so Mary's going to stand a little bit off to the side so that she's not getting hit in the face. She's going to two-hand toss to herself, a little jump, and she's going to look for the hands. And then Sona's going to work on her press. Girls, let's quick test of your cue recognition. What is your normal, what are you watching for as a blocker? Ball setter, ball hitter. Good. Okay, we didn't practice this, I promise. We didn't do blocking yesterday at practice. No, we didn't, because Brooke talked about that. Okay, so, but Mary's tossing it, so there's no pass. Okay, the setter isn't setting it, but Mary's tossing to herself. So you're not really going to watch this because it's not going to have very much time. So you're watching Mary and you're watching for her arm coming back, that's when I want to be closing. But the basics, if I want to make it really simple, is they jump, you jump. Does that make sense? So hitter jumps, blocker jumps. Okay, so they're going to do about 5. Kinna's going to hit here with Brooke, working on that press position, and then we'll rotate and add some different things here. Okay, go ahead. Maintain your space, Sona. Good. Sona, more press. Yeah, more press. Yeah. That's better, but now when I come down, back into your position. Brooke, keep a little more space when you land. Oopsie. Okay, that's good. Okay, what are we doing next? Okay, so now we're going to add a little bit more decision making. So rotate so you have a new blocker. And let's have 2 balls. So each group needs 2 balls. So you'll have 2 hitters and 1 shagger. But the people that have balls are kind of helping with shagging too. Okay? And so now Mary's just using her shuffle steps to move. She's not moving very far, so more like a outside blocker might be moving. Okay? And she's going to be centered between the 2 players. Okay? So either Evie or Sona's going to slap the ball. Mary's going to shuffle, and then you're going to jump and hit. Okay? You're going to turn and make sure you're watching so you can help shag, but also protect your face. Okay? Okay. You just hit straight, but kind of off to the side so you're not, like, it's not coming right back at you. Okay. Good. Oopsie. Okay, so this is pretty simple right now. It's pretty easy, right? You just go back and forth. So now Kinna and Kayla are going to have a quick, like 5 seconds, and Sona and Evie are going to talk about how they're going to, what pattern they're going to use to try to make, so Peyton and Mary, my blockers, have to think about which way they're going. So it's not always left, right, left, right. So then they're looking for the cue of where the ball is, and then moving. Okay, are you ready? Okay, go ahead. Oh. Good. A little bit more intensive with the shagging because you don't always have time, but stop. Okay, good. Okay. But we probably would do like 5 or 6 reps, and then we're going to rotate. So that's one of the other keys of when you're teaching at this point with method 2 in the early consolidation is we want to give them multiple reps in a row before they rotate, looking for success rate around 70% before we're going to move to something harder or add a different variable into it. Okay. Okay, now we're going to add a little bit bigger movements. Okay, and I have 2 of my liberos here today, so this is 16U. We're starting to move towards having that, and you might not have a libero that I think my liberos can block right now. They're fine. But they might, I've had a player at a level where it wasn't really appropriate for them to practice blocking. So we want to find ways to integrate my libero into this and make it meaningful for everyone in the drill besides taking them out to the side. So what we're going to do now is, so Sona, you're in the middle here. I need, actually you can go on the other side. Evie, stay where you are. Mary can block there. And once you switch with Kinna, you can go block there. And come on this side, Brooke. Okay, Ella, you're going to be there. Peyton, go to 1. Okay, and what do I have left here? No, that's good. So Brooks can be my shagger to start. Okay, so I need to be on this side. Okay, do I? Oh, you guys need to be on this side. Yeah, there we go. And I need to be here. Okay, so right now, oh, you don't need the balls, I need the balls. Okay, so Evie's you're a hitter. Kayla's a hitter. So I have 2 outside hitters. Now Sona, my middle blocker, is working. Now she's working on closing her block, so she's going to use her longer footwork, her step crossover. Okay, my outside blockers are finding the angle of where my hitters are, but they're going to keep it pretty simple for now. So you can start, remember we did this one before? Yeah. So you guys can start closer to the net. We're not getting into a full approach yet. I'm tossing the ball into the net, and we're alternating between setter and libero, taking second contact. So Peyton, for right now, is always going to set forward to Kayla and power. Ella's going to come in and work on either taking with her hands or with her forearms to Evie. Both of my hitters are going to catch it, give time for the blockers to get set, and then jump and hit into the hands. Okay, you guys remember this one? Okay, so we'll start with Peyton. Ready? Yeah, there you go. So you're going to get set with each other. So this is going to be a little bit slower right now. So we're practicing our footwork. We're making sure we're finding our hitter. Okay, ready, Ella? Good. Okay, ball. And we're moving towards covering. That's always a good habit to have. Good. We'll do one more. Oopsie. Whoops. Scored. Okay. Okay. What we're going to do next is we're going to have our players reverse the flow. So I'm going to toss the ball into Peyton, and she's going to back set to Evie. And I'm going to toss the ball into Ella, and she's going to back bump or back set to Kayla and power. Okay? So they still know which way the ball's going, but now it's reversing which way they're thinking. Oopsie. Do 2 more. Okay, move and cover. It's okay. Ella. That's better. Good. Okay, so now we're going to have to make them think. Okay, so now Peyton and Ella can choose whether they set forward or back, and so they don't know what's happening. A little bit more work for the middle than the powers, the outsides. Ready? Peyton first. Ella. Cover. I'll do 2 more. Good. Ball. Okay, and then as they get more comfortable with it, we can add more speed, we can add full attack. I find if I'm really focusing on blocking, that having this more control from this hitter, and if you don't have boxes, like sometimes you're not in a gym where you have the ability to be able to control some of that, I find this is a really good way to make sure the blockers, they got a lot of contacts. I think we missed 1, right? And they're controlled, and they get to work on their arm swing, and they're getting a repetition instead of me or my other coach getting a repetition. Okay, good job, guys. Okay, where did I put my book? Any questions so far? We're still drinking our coffee? Okay. Okay, so now we're going to move into a little bit more game situation. I'm going to have the girls hit, and we're going to look at recognizing some different sorts of responsibilities at the net and get into a little bit more higher level decision making. This is something that they would have been introduced a little bit to at 15U, but now we're really looking to try to consolidate in 16U. So now when you come on this side, you're going to hit now. Evie, you can set. Okay, and Brooke, why don't you switch with Mary so you can block? Okay, so right now, let's have Mary come and block middle. I'm sure, yeah, block, yeah, good. Okay, so we're gonna work on right now is, so Sona's my middle, and we have a front row setter, and we're working on being able to distinguish between our power blocker when they're going to jump with the setter to help take away the dump, and when they're gonna jump to help with the 51. Okay, so setter's front row, so Brooke's starting position is going to be in front of the setter. Mary's going to be in front of her middle. Okay, so the things that Brooke are trying to look for is so we don't have a pass, but I can have a passer. So let's have Ella pass. Okay, and can I have the ball cart? So now we can put together our sequencing again. So what was our sequence, Sona? Okay, ball setter, ball hitter. Good. You may have been late, but you did your homework. Okay. I'm going to put the ball into Ella. Then, actually, let's start with the toss. Sorry. I want to keep it simple to start. So right now, Brooke's only thing she has to look at is she's looking for cues from our setter. So she's looking for her hand position. She might give away something early, like drop a hand, so she doesn't look like she's going to set anymore. And Brooke's not trying to, for now, they're not trying to commit, so she's not going to jump just because the setter's jumping. She's looking for cues in her hands to be able to take away that space from deflect, and if she does get a block, that's fine, but we want to slow it down so it's easier to dig. Mary's job is watching Sona. She's going to commit and jump. She's watching the setter. Well, you're not going to commit for this, but you know that she's setting middle. Okay, so this is simple right now. Mary's focusing on getting in front of her middle, keeping her hand side to take away space. Brooke is focusing on watching Evie and looking for cues that she's going to dump or she's going to set the middle, and then try to go to help with middle or to take away space on the other side. Can I have a couple shaggers on the other side? Yes, Evie? You're allowed to dump, yes. So we're going to start from a toss, so this is controlled, and they're not worried about, for the most part, hopefully my tosses are in the same spot, and they're not really worried about the ball, the first contact. They're worried more about the setter and their hitters. Make sense? Okay. The other good thing here as a coach, if I always do this to them, I say I'm going to go, and then I keep talking. Always in a timeout, right? As I toss the ball in, I can see both of my blockers' eyes, so I can watch to see what they're watching. If they're watching the ball or are they finding their hitter. Okay, ready?
Yeah. One.
Good. Well, maybe we need, not all of you shagging on that side. Ready?
One.
Don't worry about where it's going right now.
One.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, one.
Oopsie.
Go.
It's a blocking drill, Sona.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, one.
Good.
One.
Okay. So now we're going to have my passer. Let's have Kayla, do you want to come set? And Kayla, I want to switch with Brooke. You stay there. Okay. Okay, so same thing. Okay, Kayla, she's front row setter, so you can start more in front of her. Start right beside Kina. Yep. Good. Okay, now they need to track the pass. So if the pass is off the net, then Kinna's not going to dump, most likely. If she is, it's going to be something that we can dig in the backcourt, and we don't want to worry about it at the net. And now Kayla's going to move and close with Mary so they can take away the hit because Kinna's not going to be able to dump. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the things you guys are looking for. Ball, setter, ball, hitter. Okay. Okay, and so you guys are going to move. So you want to move with Sona, with your middle. You're going to move with Kinna. Okay, so as Kinna moves along the net, you go with her. Ball. So it's, yeah, good. Ah, job, Kinna. Okay, let's do one more. Oh, shoot. Nice try. Okay. Okay, the last thing we're going to add is let's have Brooke go be power. And then I need Peyton can come block. Okay, so now my middle has the extra decision making. Sorry, Mary. Mary doesn't normally play middle. That she has to decide whether it's going to be a 51 or go outside to close a block. Just set semis for now with Peyton. And Kayla's decision making is between set or dump or help with the 51. Make sense? So we'll do a few of those. Try not to. Oopsie. Ball. Ball. Good, that's good, Kayla. Ball. Yeah, sorry, Tella. Yeah. Okay, so that was some good decision making between, well, except for Mary should have jumped there, but to get outside or Kayla seeing Kinna off the net and then staying with the middle blocker, being able to see some different cues based on where the pass is. Okay, let's rotate. Who hasn't set yet? Peyton, come set. Okay, you can block over there. So now what we're going to add is with the front row setter, now my decision making is going to be, we're adding a little bit more variables. I'm going to start with tossing over there. Is we're looking at, now Sona can run a 51 or a step. My setter can still dump, okay? But now my middle needs to look for the cues from the hitter, and so can my power, okay? Is as they're watching the footwork and seeing where Sona's going across. As soon as she starts her footwork and I see she's going, go for a step, but like from where you normally would, yeah. So she takes her first step as she's coming around the setter. Mary should be talking to her outside blocker. It's step, step, step. Now Mary needs to watch to see if Peyton can dump or if we feel that that's going to be a threat there. If she's not dumping, then she's got to close to help with Kayla on the step. But as soon as that ball comes around, now Kayla's looking for that. So we're working on our tracking the ball. So we're going to back it up and I'm going to toss because this is going to be a little bit more harder. A little bit more harder. Is that a sentence? Okay. Give her a signal. Okay, good. And so, Mary, I want you to add a little bit of communication so you can talk with Kayla of what's happening. No, not for this one. But you can continue to be ready. Okay, Kayla, keep your space. Ball. Oopsie. Remember blocking drill. Don't worry about it. Yeah. That was better. Heads up. Good. Okay, so we're gonna add a passer now, and we'll add power right away. Okay. Evie, you can just keep shagging. Okay, Lorada power right away. So now Mary's got all of her decision making. She needs to recognize where her middle's going, maybe help with setter, and then release to help with power. Okay, now I appreciate how hard the middles work. Kayla's looking for setter, dump, which middle she needs to take away, and then being able to support on defense. So a little bit more decision making. Okay, ready? Ooh. Peyton slow played you. She didn't dump once in the last context. Don't worry about the pass. Ball. Ooh. Who's on the net there? Okay. Okay, the one thing I'd like to hear is a little bit more communication of what you guys are seeing. Okay, or if you are saying it, it's not very loud. Ball. Yeah, that's okay. Okay, let's do one more. Okay, and Mary, that's a good decision. So if Mary feels like she's not able to, she's stayed for the setter dump, and that step gets all the way to the antenna, she can turn and play defense rather than get up there for a block. Okay, good. Do you guys need water, or are you okay? Maybe the middles need water. Okay. I lost my book again. Okay, we're gonna do one more gameplay context. Oh, a question. Yeah. They're doing a standing block, so they're doing like a lat or shuffle and then press. Yes, that's our system all the time. Yeah. Okay, and I will say at this age group, at 16U, with the variability of how the tempo is happening, and taking away faster tempo, that conventional blocking is going to be more effective, especially at women's volleyball, because that press is going to be the thing that's going to take away the space more than the height at this level, if that makes sense. Yep, sure. I have them do, so they're using a step crossover. Does that make sense? Do you want to demonstrate that? So, sorry, I didn't say the question for the mic. So the question was, were we using swing blocking? And no, at this age level, we use conventional. We're using a shuffle step or a slide step to close the space as hitters, as blockers. And we're, for our middles closing the block, we're using a step crossover to close. The reason why, so if I have, can I have Evie go be my blocker? Okay, so if Sona's moving to close a block, do your footwork. Hopefully you do, yeah, step. Yeah, and you can jump, sure. Okay, so that as they're moving across, this is that first step's going to open their hips up and move them towards where we're going to go. As they're crossing over, those last two steps are going to bring their hips square to the court so that they can press and be in control of where the ball's going. Any extra hip movement or extra crossover, the more we can end with them facing the net, the more effective their block is going to be. Okay? Especially, and at this level, the teams at 16U, 15U, not very many teams are running a step, and probably not at all in men's volleyball. In women's volleyball 16U, you're going to see a step more often at maybe the top 8 teams in like Division 1, and that's it. So adding more complicated block footwork or a swing block is not really necessary because it's about creating that block technique first before we start adding more complicated movements in. They're still figuring out how to move their bodies and be in control of them, and so we want to do that well and take away that space well. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to do one more, a little of a gameplay with my 8 players here. I'm going to have, can I get a setter in 1 on each side? Brooke play 5, Ella play 5 over here. Okay, so now you can go there. Mary, come here. Okay, and actually switch with Brooke, and Brooke come be a power. So play 5. Yeah, you play 5, yeah. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start the game with a joust, okay, to kind of work on our press that we added at the beginning of the day. And I'm going to get, and then after that, our hitters can run whatever they want. So I have my middle type people in 1. So even though my setter's back row, I'm going to cheat a little bit because I only have 8 players today. And they can run a 51 in front if they have time, or they're going to run a step, okay? Just do as much as you can. Okay, you can call a D if you want, okay? So they're going to run offense from that position, okay? My powers are going to hit their standard offense. And then their job as hitters is that this 6 space, we don't have defenders there. So they're not allowed to hit there. They're challenging our cross-court defense, okay? And our blockers are working one-on-one. So they are deciding, they have some decision-making processes between a 51 or a step, or it's release, and I'm going to release out into defense. Does that make sense, guys? We're going to alternate the ball. So we'll do a joust. Whoever wins gets the first ball. You get a free ball. I'll play it to either Kinna or Ella, and then we'll play it out, and I'll just alternate from that. Make sense? Okay, ready? Ball. Oh, Mary wins. Okay, Mary won the joust, so you guys get the ball first. No, block Brooke. Yeah. Ready? Ball. Okay, ball. Don't worry about the ball. Just pull it in the corner. Ball. Nice try. Ball. Good. Okay, so we're going to add a different variable now. I want my players in 5. You're going to go into 6. Okay, so that means hitters now we're challenging our, well, you can challenge most of the court. Just don't hit to 5. Does that make sense, hitters? Okay. Now we have our really dynamic pipe option. Okay. So now this is an additional thing that our blockers and our defenders need to queue for once our setter is coming. So now we've got a middle option, so a 51 or a step. We have a release to outside, or we have our pipe ball coming. Okay, just do the best you can. Okay, ready? Oh, we have to start with the joust. Okay, Sona won the joust. Okay. Brooke, or that's Kina, sorry. It's okay. Okay, last ball. Or not last ball, but. Play it. Okay. Do two more. Ball. Ella, remember your call pipe because you're a pipe option. I know that seems weird. Okay, last one. Okay. Okay. So I wanted to give an idea of you only have 8 players, but I have a complex system I want to work on. How can I be creative and create some different ways to be able to add some cues and things that they might see into gameplay? Is there any questions as we finish the last couple minutes here? Yeah. If I had 12, so the question was if I had a full team, what would I do? So if I had a full team, then yes, then I'll be able to, we would start with the joust and we would be able to use a little bit more complex. We use front row and back row setter, so we can be able to identify when am I worried about setter dump, when is the step coming, when do I need to worry about what offense is coming on this side, and being able to identify that. I think at 16U is really where you start building those abilities to recognize the hitters in front of you and have setters that start to be able to develop a bit of a game plan and understand what they're going to try to take away based on where your defense is set up as well. Yeah. So the question was, is how often would I work on blocking? Well, I'd say that I would have a plan. So I'd have my season plan and I'd have built in of my different focuses. But it's going to be sort of how it naturally fits in what the team is needing to work on. I think it's always something that sometimes we forget about. Like we don't spend a lot of time working on our technique. And even someone that is, like blocking is one of my favorite skills. I sometimes forget about it because it's, we're so focused on our first contact or serve or something that seems a little bit more crucial. So for example, we were practicing like sort of mid-December so we've had about a month of practices. And we've done 2 block focus, maybe 1. So I would say right now this is a little early, like the complex, more taking away strategies and gameplay, we're not there yet. We're more working on making sure we're taking away that space and being strong, working on our movement on the net and communicating, working together as blockers. This is gonna start to refine and work on this more so our first competition is end of February. So we'll likely review some of those systems. We'll play those teams and then come back to it in practice of how am I going to adjust against the teams that I'm playing. Last year when we were 15U, the first 2 tournaments we played in, we didn't see really much variation in the middle attack. And then we went to Premier 2 and then we're like, wow, there's a lot of teams running a lot of different variations. So that's when we decided to refine and start adding that in. But it's not every team you're going to play. So you need to decide what's going to work best for the context that you're working in and whether you need to focus more on that technique or I want to focus on building the tactic around it as well. But being able to cue and recognize what's happening is going to be the skill you need first before you can start to build in the more higher level things. Does that kind of answer? Yeah. Okay.
Okay, we got to keep things moving. So I'd like to thank Jen and the 16 new pandas for a great presentation.